next thing what we'll do is, we noticed that when we made this cabinet, and if someone sits on the bench and the back is resting on the cabinet, so if you see this side doesn't have any support, what we're going to do is, I cut some 2x6s which we had from the previous project, and we're planning to put it right at the back. We're just going to make sure that it is leveled. Now we have a support so this thing does not move, and we'll be putting few more on the top equidistant so that it also gives a clean look. And for attaching, I'll be using these 2.5-inch construction screws with my impact driver. We have put in the supports. We'll be putting some hooks over here so that everyone can hang their coats. We also have plans of putting a shelf here because this space will get wasted, so no point wasting that space. We'll be putting a 2x3 and then putting a shelf on top, and then we'll keep a basket so that our gloves or hats or any winter wear can be put in that basket. I got these side moldings from Home Depot. This particular design was per feet. We required approximately 5 feet here. It will be attached, look something like this here on all the 4 sides. We'll just take a measurement, and then using our miter box which has a 45-degree side cut, we will cut it on all the 4 sides and then attach it. We are about to start with putting the hinge on the door. This is the first time I'm doing it, quite nervous, but I managed to put in a hinge on this scrap piece of wood. So this is a soft closing hinge. Like you see, it has a built-in soft close, and the face plate and the wall plate is already on the side cabinet over there. So I'll just be replicating the measurements on this door, which we have. I don't want this to go bad. And for making the hinge hole, I'll be using this Craig jig hole cutter. It's really easy. It has all the measurements, how much distance you want from the edge of the door and how much distance you want from the top and bottom. So it really comes handy, and it has a built-in cutter and a stop block on the top. So when we drill it, it makes the perfect round hole for the concealed hinge to sit into. We have installed 2 hinges for now, and we'll also be installing 1 more hinge in the middle. This is a temporary handle using a double painter's tape. We'll be putting it onto the frame here and then just checking if everything is aligned and everything matches. Let's hope it works. Okay, both the hinges have been put onto the plate. We'll just close the door and see. Okay, it's working perfectly. It's just that the door is going inside because there is no stop block. You'll have to put in a stop block, a small piece of wood, so that the door closes and is flush with the frame. And this is a soft close, so if you leave it, it will close on its own. And this particular model also has screws for adjustment. If you need to push the door on top, sideways, in or out, so there are 3 screws. These 3 setting screws, we can adjust those in case the door is off, but I think in our case everything looks perfect. The gap on the side, on the top and on the bottom, I think everything's perfect here. So proud of ourselves that this is the first time we're doing, and it has turned out to be great. All the 3 hinges on a cabinet doors have been installed. Next step is to make a cutout for the door. The reason we are not installing any handle is because it will match with the IKEA base, so that those drawers have a cutout. So basically we'll just use a template and then make a cut over here using a jigsaw so that it will match the drawers at the bottom. This is how the drawer will look. This is the center of the door. We'll just put it on the same lines and then trace it out. I've traced it on the door. Now using the jigsaw, I'll try to cut it along the lines so that it will become a proper door handle. A about to begin with the painting process. So the first step is to sand everything. The shiplaps will be sanded very lightly because they're already pre-primed. So using a 120 grit sandpaper, I'll just be doing a quick pass on the shiplap because we'll have to apply primer and then 2 coats of alkyd based semi-gloss paint on this. About to begin with the caulking. So this is the caulking which I'll be using. I'm not using the caulking gun because this is much flexible and easy to use. It's a bit expensive than the regular caulking, but this one is easy. So just cut the nozzle and push it along the edges, and to clean it with the help of a damp cloth, just wet the finger. You just have to run the finger across. I have completed the sanding and the caulking for the window bench, and now I have put on the painter's tape on all the edges. We are about to begin with priming and then painting. So this is how it's looking right now. As you can see, everything is caulked and there are no visible edges. So everything looks really clean here as well on the top. Now let's start with the priming. I will be using this shellac based primer. This is a small paint tray, a 4-inch foam roller, and some foam brushes which I got from a dollar store. Just use and throw, and gloves. So we'll give it a good shake before we start pouring it into the small tray, and then finally on the bench and on the wall.
So the next step is building the bench seat. So for that, first we'll take a 3/8-inch plyboard and we will take a 3-inch foam. We got this from a local foam store. So the first step is to stick this on the board, and we are using the board so that we have something to staple all of the material on and the cover on it. And to stick it, we are going to use this 3M Super 77 spray adhesive. We're going to spray it on on the foam, and then we'll wait for it to dry a little bit before we put the board on it and have it stuck.
This is the first time we are doing it, so we saw a couple of videos and let's hope it turns out the way we want. 6 to 8 inches away from the foam.
We'll wait for it to dry for a couple seconds.
Yeah, I think
it's good, right?
Yeah.
So now we'll just flip it on the ply.
Just don't put it on the ply first. Hold it in the air.
You hold both sides.
Yeah.
No, take it your side. So we're just going to flip this over so that it sticks with the pressure. Ready? Now that the foam is stuck, the next thing we'll do is we have our upholstery batting. So this is just a very soft material and it'll give a nice round edge to the bench. We are going to put this under the bench and cut it to size and then attach it before we put the cover on top. So we have put the batting under the foam and we are just going to attach it with the staple and pull it hard, make it very tight, and then
No, we can put later also. I'm just doing it so that it stays intact right now.
So we are going to cut one piece of the edge so we can wrap it around, make a side edge. So we are going to do a box or square shape. So this is what the edges look like. So basically we'll just fold it in and then make a box square like this. So this is how the fold will look, and we'll press it and tightly staple it here. So we will do this for all 4 sides now. So now that we have stapled the batting, we are just going to cut off the extra of it so that our seat doesn't get very thick. So now that our bench is covered in batting, we are going to cover it in the fabric that we got. And we got this material from India. It's essentially like a very thin quilt, and it has this nice pattern that we have to center. So we are going to put it on top and center the pattern and then flip it before we put the staples in. So we're going to start from here. So now we have to flip this. We are going to staple it from here. I'll put this on the table, on the island. This bench is pretty big, so we kind of have to do this. Now from the other side also, we'll just put a few staples in so that when we flip it, it comes in straight. Just go down and staple it to the plywood. So now that we have 2 sides pinned, we are going to put this side in, and now we flip it. So we are going to cut it here at the gray border on both sides, and then we'll staple it in. On the sides, this is how we do the miter fold. We basically just tuck it in like you'll do for a bed. Push that in, get the corner from here. We tuck this in the corner, and then with the smooth line from the edge. So we have everything tucked in, and then I'll just fold it here. So we have this edge, like a square edge here, and this is how you make the square border, and we'll just staple it in place here. This is the bench from the back. It's neatly secure everywhere with staples, and then on the side we have these folds, and the pattern is centered. So I'm just going to flip it, and it's come out very nicely here, and we can put it on the bench.
We're now going to install the stop block. It will basically stop the door from going inside this frame. So this is a scrap piece of wood which I cut it. We'll install one on the bottom and one on the top here. This is the scrap piece of wood, the same wood where I put in a hinge to test the door. It's the same thickness as the door. I'll just put it along the edge of the frame where exactly I want it to close. So now it's flush, and I will just match the stop block at the back, and I think this should be fine. So I just remove the stop block, do a little outline with the pencil, and using some wood glue, I'll just check it once more. We'll just use some brad nails to hold this in place. It's a tight space here, but let's... Yeah, so this is secured, and the same I'll be doing on top here. Put in both the stop blocks. I also put on the door just to check before we do the final coat of paint on this. The self-close mechanism, and door stops perfectly with the edge here, and then flush here as well. And this is a cutout to open the door. 2 coats of primer have been completed. We've waited for an hour to dry this. Now we'll be moving on to paint. The paint we'll be using is this Alkyd semi-gloss enamel. We have previously used it on our fireplace wall, so it really turned out great. It's white in color. We didn't get this tinted. Given a nice shake. I'll be using a foam roller and a 1/2 inch paintbrush. Previously I used a foam brush to go in these grooves in the middle, but this turned out to be better than the foam brush. So we'll be using the paintbrush here and the foam roller on the shiplap and on everything else. And this is a small disposable paint tray. We have done 2 coats of the paint. Just wait it for 15 minutes and we'll peel off the painter's tape. If we leave it a little longer, the paint will dry overnight, but if we leave it and remove it tomorrow morning, the painter's tape will stick to the paint, and it will there are chances that it will rip off the paint. Right now the paint is wet, and it's really easy for us to remove the tape, and as you can see, the edges are absolutely clean. We are just finishing up the project. These are few hooks which we got, and we'll be installing them in here. So 5 of the hooks, 3 at the bottom and 2 on top, will be installed, and we can hang our coats and jackets in here, and it will be closed with the door. Pre-drilled a small hole here. About to install the last hook. This is how it's looking right now. So 3 at the bottom, and I have drilled some pilot holes. If we drill a pilot hole, the screw does not slip and goes in easily, provided. Okay. So next we'll be going to install the door. It's really easy. The plate is already installed, and we just need to clip on the hinges and just set them into the grooves, and it just clicks right onto the hinge. Just tighten these screws here. Going to install the drawers now onto the railings. These are the tabs. Once the slider goes into this hole, we'll just push the tab so that the drawer gets locked, and even if you pull it, it will not come apart from the railing. You just need to put on the drawer on the railings and put it at an angle and let the hole go. The railing sit onto the drawer on both the sides. Once that is done, we just push the tab on both the sides, and now if we try to lift it up, and it's a soft close. One last thing before we put on our bench is that we got this rechargeable motion sensor light from Amazon. So no need to replace any batteries. This gets charged by a USB-C charger, and it has 3 different modes: on, off, or as per the motion sensor. As per the motion. If I move it to on, so it has 3 color temperatures as well. This is one, this is cool white, and this natural white, and the warm white. So you can choose any color and then set it to the motion. This is the motion sensor here. So if it detects the motion, the light will turn on, and only in dark. So if there's ample room light, it won't turn on. It also has this magnetic strip at the back with some double-sided tape. Whenever the battery is low, just pull it off from the magnetic strip and plug in the USB charger. If I show it to you, that the light just turned off. We'll wait for 10 seconds to let it switch off, and then we'll check that if you open the door, does the light turn on or not. Let's try. So the light turns on, and these are the hooks to hang our jackets. And we also bought this small storage box from IKEA. Fits in perfectly, so we can put in our winter gloves or other stuff in here. Since everyone would be keeping their shoes and we don't want the drawer to get dirty, so we got these boot trays from Home Depot, and look how perfectly they fit into this drawer space. Exact fit.
So our project is finally done, and I think this is a great place, a great entryway space for us. So if anyone comes home, we have space to keep their shoes. In the drawers here, we have put some boot trays, so if it's like now it's winter, so they can keep their snowshoes, etc. And in here it won't damage the drawers. And we also have space to keep jackets, and we really wanted a space where you couldn't see those jackets hanging in your living room, and we don't have like a separate entryway space. And with the lights, I think it looks really nice. It has this space for everyone to keep their jackets in. On top, you can keep your gloves and extra items, and then we can just close it. It has a soft close system, and we don't have to see our dirty jackets and our shoes. And this is a great place to sit by the window and enjoy the view outside. It's not so nice right now, but maybe in the summer. And this was our project here. Hope you liked our video, and if you want to see more such DIYs and interesting ideas, please follow us, like this video, subscribe to our channel, and we will see you on the next time.